In this video, I'm sharing the number one strategy I teach my clients to kickstart their weight loss. So this is going to be very powerful for you if you have been on a weight loss journey, if you have been on a health journey and you have lost weight, but you've hit a plateau and you're really frustrated because you feel like, what's happening? I haven't really changed what I'm doing. I'm doing good. I'm doing my best and I'm frustrated. And then oftentimes when we get to that point, we think in order to keep losing weight, we need to really get really restrictive. And I don't want you to do that. So I'm so glad you're here. If you are ready to learn really, besides mindset and changing our mind, which is so powerful, this is my number one strategy to help you kickstart your weight loss. So how this video is going to work is I'm going to talk about a client example, I'm going to teach you, and then I'm going to end with a personal example that's going to really help you understand the power of this strategy. And so I had a client come to me, same situation I just described. She had lost weight in my program. She had hit a plateau and she was really frustrated. And so I got on a call with her and I started diving into what's going on. She goes, I'm doing all the things. I'm doing this. I've given up most alcohol. I'm doing this. She's really was working hard. And I said to her, and this is the strategy, I said, have you tracked your food and drink? Have you tracked everything that you have eaten? Now, first of all, let me just pause and say, tracking's not very fun. In my program, I usually ask women, probably if it's a 3-month program or 6-month program, just a few times of tracking, because tracking is not very fun, but man, is it powerful. And by the end of this video, you really are going to believe that it is powerful. And I'm going to go into why. But she says, no, I haven't done it. And I'm like, I know it sucks. It's not fun. But tracking is so powerful. So before I go into how powerful it is, let me just say that I encouraged her. First of all, this client is just like so many other clients. I'm thinking of one in particular client in my head, but this story I could say with so many of my clients. So she tracked for a full week. She's like, I logged everything in my mouth. She tracked everything and she came back and we really looked at her food and we could see the problems. So first of all, when it comes to tracking, let me just give you some ideas. None of this is sponsored, but there are 2 apps I've used and I really like. There's MyFitnessPal, which comes on most people's phones. I would upgrade for at least for a month or 2 so you don't see all the ads, and I think you just get more accessibility if you upgrade. There's also, my favorite one is called Macros First. It's one word. It's a blue box and it has a white box inside of it. Macros First. The reason why I love Macros First is, first of all, I have a friend that teaches macros and he told me this was his favorite app, so I've been using it for a long time. Macros basically are the breakdown of our food. So most people just think calories in, calories out. That's a very antiquated way of looking at what our body needs. That's almost like saying you can lose weight by eating a healthy diet and 1,500 calories, or you could just eat French fries all day and hit 1,500 calories. You and I both know your body's going to react very differently. So it's not just calories in and calories out. So what macros means is it really breaks down when you eat something, how much protein, carbs, fats are in that meal. And it matters because for many of my clients, what they're doing wrong, one little side note, what they're doing wrong is they're not getting enough protein. And I know you're hearing a lot of eat more protein, eat more protein. You need 1 gram per desired body weight. I don't get into all the hard rules, but I will say most of my clients have not been eating enough protein and they're eating too much fats or carbs, sometimes fats or carbs. So what we do is we go like this a little bit. We get them to eat some more lean protein, a little bit less fats and carbs, and that will kickstart their weight loss. But it's so much more than that. So let me just tell you, when we realized what she was doing and she wasn't getting enough protein and she was getting too many fats because she cooks at home and she doesn't realize how much, although olive oil is healthy, there's a lot of fat. Although avocado is healthy, there's a lot of fat. Yes, nuts are healthy, but they're a lot of fat. She did not realize, even though she was eating healthy, she was getting more than her body needed. And so let me break down why tracking is so powerful. Tracking, whether you're tracking your steps, your food, your routines, your habits, we get a realistic view of what's really going on. There are statistics, you can Google this, there are statistics that show that we human beings think we are doing way better than we are actually doing. It's not just when we go to the doctor, they say, how much do you drink? We're like, 2 drinks a week, when we know we're kind of fibbing. We actually believe intrinsically that we are doing better than we are doing. We report that we're doing better than we're doing. But when you track every single bite, every single lick, you get radically honest with yourself and you get just a much more accurate accounting of what's really going on. And oftentimes with my clients, it's a huge slap in the face, especially if you are like one of my many clients who are healthy. And they're like, but I'm healthy. I'm not eating at McDonald's every day. I'm not drinking cappuccinos 3 times a day. I'm healthy. Yes. But again, a lot of the healthy foods have enough fat or enough sugar that it's too much for your body and you're not in enough of a calorie deficit. Okay, so tracking is so powerful because you get radically honest with your efforts. Tracking is so powerful because when you track and then you fail, you get the opportunity to understand why. And so even though in this video I'm talking about the number one strategy to kickstart your weight loss, the number one thing I think helps everyone with not only weight loss but eating better forever is mindset, because mindset has to come before strategy. My clients, many of my clients, when I finally say, hey, I really need you to take this tracking seriously, they finally go from tracking stupid, it feels like a diet, I shouldn't have to do this, I already eat healthy, which is a very negative mindset. They go to a better mindset, which is, I think I'll give this a try. Okay, this is annoying, but Courtney said it would be, and I'm willing to give it a try. They change their mindset. So that's always number one. But when you track, what happens is you fail, and then you get the opportunity to say, why did I fail? And my friend, this is how you lose weight forever. This is how you get healthy forever. This is how you drink less forever. And this is how you move more forever, is understanding why when you had planned to do it, and then you didn't do it, why? Always comes down to emotions, which have become habitual. And so what that means is like when all of a sudden you're like, I wasn't gonna have dessert, and then I had dessert, and you're like, why did I do that? You have to take a moment and go, what was it? Was I bored? Was I frustrated? Was I listening to my primitive brain and just telling myself I was hungry? Was I telling myself I deserved it? What was really going on? And oftentimes, I'm going to give you a little tip, is when we are tracking and then we go off our plan, we don't want to put it in the tracker. I've done this too. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stop tracking for the day and start tracking again tomorrow. But if you do that, you're missing out. You're missing out on being radically honest and seeing what's really going on. If you look at a 7-day period, and if you weigh yourself once a week and you're trying to lose weight, and you look at a 7-day period and you have 3 days where you go over by 500 calories, that's why you're at a plateau. But we're never going to know that until you actually track. And so the way I talk about tracking in my program is I teach my clients to track from curiosity, not track from shame or track from being perfect, but really tracking from, let's see what's really going on. And client after client after client, when they come back, they're all, I see what's going on. I am not getting enough protein and I'm getting way too many carbs. Or I see what's going on. I upped my protein, but I didn't do it in a lean protein way. I started justifying having steaks and burgers and all that. So I really upped my fat, not saturated, but necessarily, but fat. And so then we're like, curious, interesting. And then we go to, okay, how can we get the same amount of protein without getting all that fat? So this is all about creating sustainable habits, sustainable new patterns of eating and thinking. The other reason that tracking is so powerful is you realize the importance of imperfect consistency. You don't have to give up all alcohol. You don't have to give up all sugar. You don't have to give up everything. You can be imperfectly consistent and lose the weight you want to lose. And we're not going to see how to do that until we track. You learn how to hold yourself accountable, and what happens is you change your self-concept. So in my program, how I help women is I help them become better eaters forever. I help them become the woman that makes a plan and can stick to it. And that changes their self-concept. They then go, oh, I can totally do this. I just had a client the other day come on a call, and she was on a vacation, and she says, I lost 5 pounds on my vacation. And I was like, whoa, that's amazing. How did you do that? And she started going into all the strategies. Well, I ate a little bit less at every meal. I did all these things. But I said, yes, but what were your thoughts? And she goes, my thoughts were, I can do this. My thoughts were like, maybe this is possible for me. So that way of thinking is now created some evidence that it is possible. not only does she now know that this is possible for her, now everyone else that was in the group and that heard that exciting thing, now they believe it's possible for them. So going back to mindset, what you believe is possible is what you will create in your life. And so when you track your food, even just for a few days or a week, you all of a sudden see things differently. And then when you're able to tweak, eat better without being perfect, you see that it's possible to eat imperfectly and lose weight. To not have to go on a totally restrictive cleanser diet and lose weight, that you can do it by just eating better forever. So let me give you one last story that talks about tracking, and this one's about the gym. So I was going to the gym. I love going to the gym. I've been going to the gym for a long time. I can go now, even if I'm not motivated, which was hard for a long time, but I've got the skill of now doing that. It's easy for me. And so I was telling my son, who's an extreme athlete at the D1 level, and I was telling him, I said, I've been going to the gym lifting weights and I'm trying to lift heavier, but I'm not seeing the muscle growth. I feel like I kind of look the same and I'm frustrated. And he goes, well, are you tracking your weights? I got called out. Courtney, the body and life coach, got called out by her son. And I'm like, I haven't been tracking. And he goes, well, that's why. And I'm like, all right. I know this work at a deep level. All right, so tell me how to do this. So he grabbed my phone and he installed an app to track, because I don't really have anything to track. And a total side note is when I go to the gym, I don't wear my glasses. So I'm basically kind of blind in the gym. And so he installed an app on my phone that tracked the weights. And it has been about 2 months now, and I'm lifting heavier than I ever have in my life. Upper body and lower body. It is because I have been tracking. So again, because all of a sudden I got a realistic view of what I was really doing. When I didn't do what I said I was going to do, I understood why. And then it also really challenged me to go to my own next level by sitting down at a machine and looking back and saying, oh shit, I did 45 pounds last time I was here. Okay, let's see if we can do 49 or 50 pounds. So it has been really, really helpful. So mindset, the way you think about all of this is the number one thing. Because you're going to finish watching this and you're going to either think, okay, I'm going to give it a try. Maybe this is going to help me. Maybe I'm going to check out our website. Maybe I'm going to watch some other videos. I've got some other great videos for you to watch. That's all positive mindset, being open, being curious, being radically honest and accountable. That's first, and then tracking is a quick second. Tracking is whatever you want to get better at in your life. If you track it, you will be able to see your progress, see what's holding you back. I hope this video was helpful.